Hello, everyone.
Happy Monday.
Thank you so much for joining us again today on this Happy Monday. This is the Rabell Realty Group podcast.
Lucky number 3.
Number 3, yes. Third time's a charm.
We'll see.
And we are the co-broker owners of Rabell Realty Group. I am Kristen Rebecca, and this is my real estate ride or die sidekick,
Rebecca Johnson.
All right, well, let's talk about the market report today, Rebecca. What do
Yes.
you have for us?
We have a slide to show what's going on in the Gainesville market for the month of September. This month, so far, there have been 126 new listings to hit the market in the greater Gainesville area. Now, this is taking into account attached and single-family residential homes. So 126 new listings. Now, check the second number. 203 pending listings, and this is just September 1st through today, which means there are almost twice as many people looking and going under contract as what's hitting the market. So what does this mean for sellers? It's an excellent time to consider selling your home if you aren't already on the market. Kristen and I would be happy to have that discussion with you. As you can see, there are obviously buyers still out there looking for properties. So it is definitely a great time. And as for the bottom one, the closed sales, so this month alone we've already had 125 closings, so you're more than likely going to double, if not more than double that number by the end of the month. So we are seeking listings and buyers, of course, but listings are in desperate need in this area. So if you have a home, whether it's residential or attached, single family, multifamily, whatever it is you've got, we'd be happy to speak with you about what the value is, where the market's sitting in your particular neighborhood. Just give us a call or an email and we'd be happy to sit and talk with you.
That's great. Do we want to talk about some of these numbers, like why there are so many pended, over the number of closings and listings? What do we think?
So I believe from everything we've seen this year that there's just a deficit of listings, and it's actually been building over the last couple of years to basically, we're going to reach a point where you basically have about a month and a half's worth of supply. And what that means is that if nothing else came on the market within the next 2 months, we would be 100% out of inventory.
Right.
So
now I think that pending number is quite a bit higher because of new construction. New construction is booming. Now, granted, their prices of materials are rising a lot, so we're going to see price rises also to, accompany that, to take care of those. Like the lumber prices are about 115% higher than they were about a month ago.
Yeah.
And so, but those pended are a lot of these new construction neighborhoods that are in and around Gainesville. So that's a big part of it as well. And those take 4 to 6 months to close. And that's why there's, one of the reasons why there's a lot more pended than closed, well over the number that are listed and closed. But Rebecca's points are that there's not a lot of resales out there. There's not a lot of homes for sale. Whether it's attached homes like condos or multifamily or just new residential homes. So give us a call. We'd love to get you on the market.
Very true. And I think one thing you have to remember with new construction is that they don't list everything. Right. So there are new homes out there that have not been listed yet because the builders have not committed to the lot or whatever the situation is. And that's a discussion we'd be happy to have with buyers. If you're a buyer looking for new construction, let us know. We know neighborhoods that have lots available that you can still get a new home if you're not finding what you're looking for on the market.
Right. Not all builders, realtors put their product on the MLS. They just put their inventory homes, but not the other plans that they have available. There is a way to do that, but not everyone does that. It's a lot of work, and usually what we're wanting to get you is to get out there, whether with your realtor or to meet the realtor on site, and then that realtor is going to show you what else is available. So a lot of times you're not going to see everything that's available to build, or maybe even, like she said, the ones that are coming up, we have the ideas of where they're going on the lots, we have the ideas of what plans are going on, but we have not listed it yet. Sometimes permitting issues, sometimes just not wanting to start the permit process until there's a buyer that's coming on. So those are some of the great, some of the examples of why you need to meet with realtors to find out more information about what's coming on the market. What do we have next?
So I believe we were going to talk about unemployment in the economy and foreclosures.
Right.
And
a little bit more about A lot of questions that we're hearing a lot lately are, when are the foreclosures? Where are the foreclosures? I think we'll start it off with, we have a great slide up here I'll get to, but we'll start it off with, a lot of people go to Zillow first. And I know there's some realtors out there going, no, that's terrible. It is what it is, and so we're going to use the example of Zillow. You're going to see foreclosures and pre-foreclosures out there on Zillow, and a lot of times the pre-foreclosures, you think, oh, there's foreclosures coming. They're not necessarily. That owner has possibly been given a Liz Pendens, and that means they're behind on their payment and a significant amount, but they don't they come on Zillow because Zillow pulls this from public records and shows it on their website because they're pulling you in as a buyer, and they're wanting their realtors who are paying to get you as a buyer, basically, this lead generation as a buyer. They want us to be able to have these leads. So they grab you with this word, pre-foreclosure, right, this term. And oftentimes, maybe that Liz Pendant, maybe that payment has been paid off. They haven't started the foreclosure process. Sometimes the foreclosure process can start and take a long, long time. So right now, this slide is showing you the Bureau of Labor statistics, and this was from about last week. But last year, we were seeing unemployment in the same numbers as those first 3 months, between 3 and 4.5%, which is really low, and it was a really great economy. And then, of course, COVID hit. And a lot of people, whether they lost their jobs or temporarily lost their jobs, it spiked up to 14.5%. But as you can see, as we're trying the new normal with COVID, it's actually the numbers are dropping. So a lot of people, yes, we can also, Juan Cruz, thanks for asking, help you with land purchases. We'll try to answer your questions as we're talking, so please ask questions. We're happy to answer them. Anyways, the unemployment rate's going down despite that COVID is still spiking, COVID's still out there. So if we could see the next slide, please. So we have a guy, Jason Furman, professor of practice at Harvard. So I can't even read that right now. But yeah, so he's a professor at Harvard, and it says an unemployment rate of 8.4% is much lower than most anyone would have thought of a few months ago. So as you could see, we went up to 14%. No one knew it would come back down to 8.5%. So it's a bad recession right now because of COVID, but not historically unprecedented event, or one that we need to go back to look at the Great Depression for comparison. So if you're looking at the recession that we had in 2008 that started then, or the Great Depression, we're not really in a bad time right now. So if you could show the next one, please, because we're going to get into foreclosures through this. So this is a little chart from the Department of Labor. Basically, if you can look at it, seeing the Great Recession that really started in 2006. I think it was heightened here a little bit more in 2008. And how, it was nowhere near as terrible as the Great Depression of the 20s, right? And so, our current right now, it was a huge dip, and now we're going to start shooting back up. But as you can see, we did not dip as long and as far. So there's not a year of dip, years and years of dipping. There's just a short period of dipping. So if we can see the next one. Okay, so this one shows where everyone's able to file for unemployment now. So the cumulative new filings are 58.9, but really the ones right now that are currently collecting unemployment are only 13.3%. So all these new filings that are out there, they're not getting it, only 13.3%. So that's actually a pretty good number. You're hearing all over the news that loves to give us negative information to have us kind of freak out, right? You would probably agree to that. And that is not a political comment. That's just, news in general. So it's showing that 13.3, that's not a horrible amount compared to what we've seen. So if we could see the next slide. Most of these next slides are actually other really great quotes. So first American economist Odetta Kushi, economic distress and a lack of equity are the two triggers of a foreclosure. That is a huge statement right there. So each trigger itself is necessary but not sufficient for foreclosure. So then she continues, the percentage of economically distressed homeowner households is highest in COVID-19 hotspots. However, the equity built up since the Great Recession, or the 2006 to about 14, can provide an important buffer for distressed homeowners. So right now, we have quite a bit of people that are out of work, whether it's for, furloughed or for a long time. That's sort of that economic distress. Not being, especially like restaurateurs, right? They're not able to open in certain areas or stay open as long. But right now we have equity in our homes. That's the biggest difference. Our numbers have risen in Gainesville alone, because here she's talking about sort of localizing things. So COVID-19 hotspots, Gainesville, Alachua County, it's not a hotspot. We're talking about New York City, Miami, these huge hotspots. That's where it's really triggering. So we're going to see foreclosures there well before, actually, could you go back? Well before we see them in this area. So if you're looking for foreclosures in this area, I'll sort of get into this topic a little bit more. But we've been rising in value since our lowest in, remember 2011?
Oh, yeah.
If you bought in 2011, you could resell the next year and make money. That was like the best year in our area ever to buy. So we've risen in value since then, so that we don't have that lack of equity. And then also, as Rebecca was showing you before, there's not enough listings out there. So when listings come on the market, as long as they are in a great location at the proper price for the home, they're going to sell fairly quickly. Right?
Correct. I mean, if you're listing a home that's really a $200,000 home, and that's the true value, and you're listing it at $300,000, you're obviously not going to sell as quickly. And yes, Juan, the interest rates are still low. Appreciate the question. And so yes, right now the interest rates are staying very steadily low. Even if they rise, I mean, it's almost like getting free money if you're in the 2-3% range. I remember being so excited when I bought my first home in 2007, and I got 6.125, and I'll always remember that number. And I think my current one's at like 3.5%, and
that's actually pretty high.
That's pretty high compared to what everybody else is.
I just refied, and I'm at I think 3%. Robert Filio can probably tell me I'm wrong, but he'll tell me what percentage I'm at. But right now we're getting buyers that are getting 2.3, 2.5, 2.75 is actually pretty normal for everyone. 2.5 and 2.3 is for really good buyers, but that also allows for this equity because you're able. We'll answer you in a second, Duffy, but thank you. We're able to get such low rates that these refis that are happening are causing us to have more equity. So, Duffy, what was your question again?
Why aren't there as many listings now as previous years?
That's a good question. I mean, we've had, last year we were deficient in listings, right? So this year, we've read a lot of articles. So we probably have a couple of different opinions from the articles we've read and what we're seeing. But people are getting these low refis, so they're staying in. Also, a lot of people are really worried because, and you don't want this to stop you, because we're still finding people are able to put their house on the market, sell it, and find something in the meantime. Now, are they finding their perfect home? Not always, but they're usually finding a home they're pretty happy with at a great price. So we're able to close even same-day closings on their listings that they put on the market and went under, and then the purchase during the meantime. But right now, COVID was really the main reason. Usually, we see a pretty big spike in listings come March, April in our area, and COVID happened right at that time. So a lot of people decided, either furloughed, they're lost their job, or they were owners and had to shut down for a while. And so whatever plans they were making, they weren't happening. I do know that quite a few people also decided not to move because either their job didn't allow them to. So now that's opening back up a little bit, so we will possibly see another spike. We're really not slowing down in real estate locally.
It's usually been very busy.
Yeah, usually September's our kind of month off to prepare for next year. Realtors around this area have not had a time
zero break. We're not complaining because we know what the other side looks like, but there really has been the only break we had was initially when COVID hit. There were probably 4 or 5 weeks that were really slow, which was, to go back to Duffy's question, our traditional listing time of year, where you had people withhold their homes from the market. And then now the situation is they're afraid they're not going to find a home, is my opinion.
Right.
So they're not listing their homes, which is creating a deficiency in certain price points. Let's see, have you been hearing? Yes, more people are moving to Florida. I saw an article in the paper this weekend that said 1,000 people a day. Can you imagine? I can't imagine.
And actually, they're not only moving to Florida, they're moving up from South Florida into our area to get sort of out of that hustle and bustle, that COVID hotspot, you could say, coming here to, election year. Angela, that's another really good point. That's a huge reason why people aren't putting it. Election years always affect real estate slightly negatively.
National elections, typically.
Right, national elections. So they get really nervous. So every 4 years, you sort of go through this. So that's an excellent
We were
question,
preparing
Angela.
for it to be dead at the end of summer, before COVID hit and all that. When we were doing our business planning back in 2019, we were preparing for it to be slow, really starting in August, because traditionally the market just kind of shuts off for an election year. And that hasn't happened this year. So homes are still going very quickly. Buyers are still reaching out. I was looking at the reports for our website this week, and we actually had more people coming and visiting and looking and inquiring than we have more recently in the past couple weeks. So
but Florida has that great weather. We are not right on the water, so we still have, affordable insurance and affordable housing. Permitting is a little bit easier than on the coastal line. So a lot of people are coming down to this area to get away from the cold, to get away, again, really it's from the hot spots. And I actually read an article recently about how vacation is going to be different and where you buy your homes are going to be different. And it's all going to be based on smaller, more localized places that are not as busy, not as many people. All of these big touristy places, people are going to be moving from and moving out of, and not even, visiting for trips. So we'll go on to the last one. We've got great questions here and a lot of good information. In the first half of 2010, 1.65 million American homes went into foreclosure, according to ATTOM, Adam. In the first half of 2020, barely 165,000 loans were hit with foreclosure actions. Even if defaults rise up dramatically, they'll remain well below the levels seen during the mortgage meltdown. So there's two factors with this. First of all, we have a moratorium, a national moratorium against foreclosures. So if anyone's looking for that great deal, that's sort of what we're talking about right now, is that there's not enough on the market to have these great deals. So all you flippers out there, you're probably going, where is everything? Everybody who wants these great deals, where are they? They're not really out there because of the lack of listings that we're talking about. But also you have the moratorium of foreclosures as well as evictions, right, for anyone who's in property management, but the moratorium for foreclosures. So that's not happening, and that went to the end of the year. And then you also have the fact that in the Great Recession, it was the bank's sort of fault. Sorry, banks, I'm going to throw you under the bus. But the bank's fault for having this, So right now, this is more of a healthcare, pandemic issue than a bank pandemic health issue, right? So the banks were just giving money to everybody, and then that's where the foreclosures came in. These people who really could not afford the houses were buying houses, and then 2 and 3 years down the line, they were already starting the foreclosure process. We don't have that because, again, from that slide before, we have equity. There is a little bit of economic distress, but there's still too much equity in the homes. And then with lack of homes on the market, home prices just naturally rise a little higher than what we can actually afford. There's not really a lot of affordable housing, and now we're getting even more out of affordable housing. So that was sort of the discussion with foreclosures and where they come from. So this says COVID-19 pandemic will lead to a rise in mortgage defaults and foreclosures, but as the housing market muscles through this economic downturn, it looks as if foreclosures will form a trickle rather than a flood. So again, the Great Depression or the Great Recession, huge amounts of foreclosures coming in, really as short sales, which that's a whole other podcast if you want to get into that. But right now, it's going to be a trickle effect. So they're going to come on little by little, and I bet you they're going to be hot houses, and you're going to have not just 5 or 10 offers, but you're going to have 20 to 50 offers. So.
And I think banks have savvied up to that. I mean, to go back to the flippers, there are deals out there, but instead of like one and done, you might have to hit 100, look at 100 properties to find a deal, or think outside the box and get creative.
Right, so out of the area.
So Rabell Realty Group does not offer property management services, but we are partnered with K&R Property Management, and they do offer property management services. Thank you, Kai, for that. quick on the information there. And
KNRPM.com.
So I was thinking back to our earlier days in real estate back in 2010.
Well, we have to take a break now, Rebecca. So we'll tell you that story.
You'll have to wait for a Kristen and Rebecca story.
We'll have to go to the end to tell that story.
Stay tuned.
My first job in construction was probably around the age of 14 years old, and I was definitely the laborer on a framing crew. I got into building homes because my father was a builder and developer in this area for 50 plus years now. I have a real estate license that I've had for 10 years, and now it's currently being held at Rabell Realty. Right now we are building in Grand Oaks. We have 8 different models that range between 1,700 and 2,100 square feet. What's different and unique about our homes in Grand Oaks, I would definitely say, is our smart package. It's a true smart home. We work hand in hand with Sound Ideas, a local name. They've been here for decades. Great team to work with. They stay on top of the new technology. My wife does a lot of the things that are behind the scenes that she doesn't always get the credit for, but she does. Our goal is to try and keep all of our work through Monday and Friday if we can. Faith, family, and then work. Work's very important, but it's not number one. I like to run, I like to work out, I like to hunt, I like to fish, and honestly, I just like to spend time with my boys and my family, which could be anything. It's adventurous. My favorite thing about building is getting my true blood, sweat, and tears in each and every job that we have. My goals are to finish out Grand Oaks and look for our own project outside of Grand Oaks, to have just a Weisman Homes renovations project, and then after that, maybe we'll be doing more.
Hey, welcome back. We're learning this. This is our 3rd time. Welcome back to the podcast. Thank you so much for staying with us or tuning in now. So we just got over a really great discussion about foreclosures and unemployment and a couple other questions from our listeners. So if you have any questions, don't hesitate to post. We'll get to the answers as soon as we can. But we're going to actually go into our new construction neighborhood that we represent. It's Grand Oaks. You just saw a video of Mike Weisman of Weisman Homes and Renovations, and he's the builder out there. And so Rabell is one of the realtors out there, or the realtor out there, the real estate company, the brokerage out there representing. And
Michael
Weisman wanted to tell you a little bit about that. So do we have the builder spotlight coming up? Yeah.
So I was very excited to get in my mailbox the latest Giggle magazine. And as I was flipping through the pages, I noticed this great ad. I think we got the screenshot. There we go. Talking about, I know Michael and Gary are both building out there, their father and son, and they both have homes that are going up, but I believe we're talking a little bit more about Michael today. Tell us about this great builder.
Well, let's see. I'll start with Gary a little bit. That's his dad. He's been building for 40 plus years in Alachua County. And Mike, in this article that he's talking about, he really started building with his dad, framing for him back when he was, a teenager and even before them. So he grew up on the construction site and eventually really wanted to get into building. So he got his general contractor license. Actually, he got his real estate license before. So this is kind of a Renaissance man, does real estate, builds homes, does renovations. He also is a huge family man. He's married to Lauren Weisman, very sweet, beautiful girl that we absolutely adore. And he has 3 gorgeous children. The latest one is baby Brooke, who was born, it was a year ago. She's a year old now. So 3 adorable kids under the age of 5 or 6. And so what I love about Mike is that he wakes up really, really early to go and help his guys frame his homes and build and get everything ready and prepared for whatever process they're in for these homes in Grand Oaks. And he's a great team leader. He's there. He knows the process and the product, and he's out there with them to help lead them, and then and just give them a lot of really great energy and positive energy. And then afterwards, he doesn't stay out there all night. Some builders do, but he will.
We see you, Michelle. Michelle. We'll get you in 1 second.
We do. We'll talk about the lots left. But then he goes home and he plays with his boys, and obviously baby Brooke, and he spends quality time with them. But at the same time, he also goes on like a 5-mile run. And sometimes I'll call him and it's only like 6 o'clock and he's mowing the lawn. And so he really is a wonderful family man. And so he does this for them, for this beautiful family that he has. And so that's really special to me, especially with these beautiful homes that he's building. So we have the largest home in Grand Oaks, which is 2113 square feet. And we also have the smallest home, which is 1700 square feet. So we have the Brook and the Ashton 3 and the Grayson 3, which are all 1,700 to 1,701 square feet, and then the Paisley, which the video we showed you at the beginning is the Paisley, and it's a 4-bedroom, 3.5 home. So right now we're working on phase 1, and in phase 1 there are 126 lots. So we do have a couple of lots that we already have permitted for some homes or that are already owned. Gary owns all the lots, so Gary doles them out as they become available in different sections. So you're looking at a video right now that was actually about 6 months ago, and right when COVID happened, we were actually like right on the precipice of like really building, and then all of a sudden everybody pulled back, right? And we had a couple of buyers who said, well, actually we're not coming now to University of Florida, to Shands. They've decided not to hire us. There was a little bit of a hiring freeze, and then all of a sudden, boom, everybody came. So we are just about.
So phase 1 is moving quick.
Phase 1 is moving quick.
What's
Total
the average sales price?
Well, I'm going to answer Michelle first. Okay. We have plenty of lots left over in phase 1, and then we're going to have 3 phases total at about 302
houses. Is there an amenity?
There is an amenity. So, so Sky asked, what's the average price? I would say, because we're right under 300 up to about 376. So that's about 330, 340 is our average price in there. And we have an amenity center, and COVID actually did cause it to a delay in the permitting, because home permits came back first, but now these amenity centers did not. So we're in the process of designing the pool. We have a covered pavilion that we already have designed, and that will go in there. There will be a couple of parking spaces, but really what they want are people to walk up and bike up. So there's going to be a bike rack
everywhere.
Right. And then we have a little retention pond, well, actually a really big retention pond that it backs up to, and there's a trail around that. So if you're on the other side, you can cross the streets and then ride the trail or walk the trail over. And you get to walk around this. It's a retention pond, but it's actually really nicely set up to where there's ponds around. And we have beautiful birds out there. Yes, gators and snakes, but it's Florida. You're going to have that everywhere, and I actually love that. So
that's part of Florida.
Right.
Somebody, what do they ask us from up north? Are there alligators near this? And anything that has water, you have to always be cautious. Where is Grand Oaks located exactly?
So that's a great question. So we actually have 2 entrances now. Off of Tower Road, where that new circle has been put in, that is that's the back entrance. That's the entrance everyone has been using, and it's across from Oak Hall Private School. And then there's something called the Markets West, which you'll see the North Florida Emergency Center is there, and then a couple of other shops have come up, Sherwin-Williams. There's a huge building that's being erected right now. I'm pretty sure I'm allowed to say it's Tower Hill Insurance. They're moving there from the old Service Merchandise location where they are now. And then there's a couple of other companies coming in. It's a little bit more of an office space right now, and like little storefronts. We don't have any food yet. Would love to have like a little cafe or something. And that is a different development and that's more of a commercial.
But it sounds like an asset to the community, because they'll have things to go to and places to walk to.
Right, and so the behind that is, that first phase and the future phases. The road right now has just opened up, and so it's great access for anyone who works at UF or Shands, because you can just drive over to 24th. You don't have to go out Tower Road to go down all the way to Newberry or Archer, or even 24th, which turns into 20th. You can and there's a light right there, so you could just take a left on to 20th or 24th, 20th, where it changes right there, and head on up to Celebration Point, to thanks Patrick, to Celebration Point and to Butler Plaza. That's really growing and making Gainesville really a beautiful place to come visit and shop. And then Shands, and it goes up to 34th, so you'll get right on to University of Florida right there. So really great location. and beautiful new houses. I mean, Weisman really builds a beautiful house, and we have such gorgeous upgrades that come with the homes. So hardy board material, 30-year architectural shingles.
I was going to ask, how does it work? So what's the process? Say I go out there and I don't want to buy an inventory home, but I'm going to say I like this lot and I like this floor plan. I just go to contract and then meet with you guys to sit down and pick my selections?
Yes.
I mean, look at that bathroom. That's beautiful.
Yeah, and there's that beautiful waterfall feature that we have. So yes, you'll go into contract with us, put down an escrow, and then we will meet with you once permitting starts for your new home. We'll meet with you, and you get to choose your exterior. Yes, they are building the new commercial buildings nearby. We are not. Weisman is not, but there's another builder that is, and that is a different development. But you'll meet with me first at our model center, and you'll be able to pick out a couple of your finishes, actually everything, but you really meet with me for the exterior, your quartz countertops, your exterior color, your door color, and your shingle color, and a couple of other features that are really easy to pick right there. You can go to Sherwin-Williams and pick your interior color. We don't
How convenient that
force
they're right there.
And they're right there, so you can bring in, you know, your little picture, your little color selections, and then go through that. And then I will set you up with Dana over at FD Tile, and she will go through, and you'll get your luxury vinyl planking. There's no carpeting. You get the LVP flooring all throughout, and you can pick those out. And obviously there's base prices of things, but we allow you to go beyond that. And you know, there's just obviously, like when you build with someone, you're gonna have a base price, and then above that you would pay the difference. But there's so many beautiful selections. Not many people have done that.
Yeah.
And then you pick out your tile, your backsplash. We also give you backsplash, which not every builder does that. And then you also meet with Edwin at Lowe's for your lighting selections. So the HOA there, it's really nice. It's paid quarterly, so it's $60 a month, but really $180 a quarter. And that pays for that pool and pavilion and a little bit of the shared spaces, the open spaces. There are quite a few. We're actually trying to drop it down to about 5, but you have almost 10 to choose from. And I mean, and then there's Gary and Mike. So Mike has more than Gary, choices that are available. They're 3-bedroom, 2-bath homes up to that 4, 3.5. So we don't have any 2-2s right now. We're starting at 1,700 square feet to go up all the way up to 2,200 a square foot.
So basically, Juan, whatever you're looking for, they've got it. They'll be able to help you.
And I would say about 25. I'd have to count in my head. 25 families have moved in or are moving in. So. That's pretty good.
That's great. I mean, you guys really just kind of kicked off this year, so that's a great success.
And I mean, we have closings up until April at this point.
That's amazing. Now, who's the lender, or who are you working with for lending out there, and are they offering any incentives?
We do. We actually have 4 lenders. Sorry, Robert. We have Robert Filial, or Team.
It's FMT.
Yeah, FMT, Filial Mortgage Team at Annie Mac. And then we have Sue Albritton at Landmark. We have Becky Bessinger at Ameris, and Alan McGlynn at Advisors. And
they're
all 4
really
of them
good.
are amazing. They've all done new construction since I can remember. Really great to work with. Each have different programs to work with. So they're all phenomenal. I can't pick one. And then they give $2,500 in closing costs.
That's great.
So yeah.
That's really good news for home buyers. So great builder, amazing family man, takes care of himself and the yard, apparently, spends time with his kids. And I will say, I know I'm not on the Grand Oaks sales team, but anytime I've come out there for the events or just in general to stop by and talk with you, I always see him out there, leading his crews and working with them to get things done. So.
And he's super nice. If if you're building with him and want to talk to him, we'll make an appointment. But he will stand there with you and talk with you and meet with you at the model. Right? I know some of the builders that we worked with in the past. They just wanted to hide in the back and not meet anybody. We are open every Saturday and Sunday, 12 to 4. I'm out there at 4 a.m. No, just kidding. 12 to 4. Jackie's out there. Now we also have Jackie Mercier, who's on our team. And then we also have Susan Donnelly and Sam. He's out there, Samit Patel. And so Sky Mays. I've known Sky for 25 years, so.
And this model's furnished, right?
Yes, we actually have 2 models that are furnished.
Okay.
Our model, which is our main center, it was the Parade of Homes. So Rebecca has some nice skills, and we went in and we owned some furniture and we staged it. We own a lot of furniture, and then we also staged the Grayson, which is a 2,500, 2001 square feet. So stop in, come by over the weekend, get to know us, check out the homes. We'd love to show them to you. We'd love to meet you out there. And then we're also available by appointment. Either Jackie or I are out there throughout the week at different times. If you don't see us, you could certainly text us or call us, and we'll make it out there for you. We are by appointment only to show the homes, even for your realtors. So we do ask that if you have a realtor, have them contact us, make an appointment. We'll make it out there, because we don't want to, again, kind of what we talked about before, there's so much more than what we have on the market. We'd want you to see what's available rather than just what's inventory homes.
That's pretty standard. Don't forget to get your Giggle magazine and check it out. It's right there towards the center of the book. You can learn more about Mike Wiesman and his great homes in Grand Oaks. Let me think. What are we talking about next? Oh, yes. Rabell Realty Group is excited to announce that we are now on TikTok. So you could, if you're on TikTok, and I know there's all this controversy about it being sold, I think we have a slide that shows where we're at on that. But basically, we've joined TikTok to have a little fun with real estate, fun and information. So you can find us there. We're Buy, Sell, Rebell, GNV. That'll be mainly focused on the Gainesville location, and as we grow and expand, we'll add other markets that we're in. So share your feedback, follow us, and have some fun. It'll be a whole new level of Rabell marketing on there for you. And we'd love to hear your feedback on that. The last little topic of the day that we still get a lot of questions on is, how do I become a realtor or join your team? And it's real simple. Just go to join@buysellrebell.com. We added a new team member this week. We're excited to introduce him. So make sure you're following us on Facebook and Instagram. I know they've popped up with the links a couple of times, but you're obviously watching. So follow us and keep track of what's happening at Rabell Realty Group.
Thank you, and please tune in again next Monday at 2 o'clock.
We'll be here. We're getting better every week, I hope.